What's good, everybody? It's Michael here again. Welcome back to the Bearcat Den, and today we have a special episode of the Den today. And today we have Baruch men's baseball, and we have Roy, Kenny, and Ryan. Gents, introduce yourselves.
Yeah, so my name's Roy Longarzo. I'm a sophomore here at Baruch. I'm a statistics major, and I play outfield and infield for the Baruch baseball team.
My name's Kenneth Pastrana. My major is biological sciences. I am a freshman, and I play outfield.
My name is Ryan Foerst. I am a finance major here at Baruch. I am a freshman and I'm a pitcher.
Great to meet you, fellas. Let's jump right into it. So, how did you guys get into baseball? So, let's start with Ryan.
Starting off with baseball, I really got into it when I was 6 years old. I started off with, when I was younger, I had a babysitter and her son played baseball, so I was always around the game when I was younger from a young age, and I kind of just inspired me to start playing myself, and that's how I got into it. I would go to his games when I was younger, and then I eventually got into playing Little League when I was younger. Around 7 years old is when I started playing competitively among people my age. So that was how I first started getting into baseball.
Kenneth, how did you get into baseball yourself?
So I was probably around the age of 4 or 5. My dad obviously was always into baseball. I really got into it from him. I got all my desire for sports from him. He just really introduced me. He tried me on a lot of sports. Obviously, I was a very active kid, so I was always kicking a ball in the yard, throwing, doing something. So really just something that stuck with me. He put a bat in my hand. Apparently, ever since I was born, he told me that he knew. He put a bat in my hand, something that came naturally. You know, I didn't really start playing too competitively until probably around the age of 12 or 13, but I still played a few times. I was good when I was younger. Then I went through a phase of not knowing what I wanted to do around the age of 10 to 12. I didn't know if I wanted basketball or baseball, and then I ended up just sticking to baseball, and it's something that carried from there.
And for Roy, how did you get into baseball yourself?
Yeah, so my dad's a big fan of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a household where he always had the Yankee game on, so I was always around it. Around 4 or 5, he put me in T-ball, and then just went from there. I was just in love with the game, It's something that he pushed on me, but as he pushed it on me, I grew to love the game, so I'm glad that he did that.
Guys, those are amazing stories how you guys got into baseball. So do you guys think that going into the Baruch season, that fire that you guys have from when you were younger to win, do you guys think that carries over into today's mindset now?
I think it definitely carries over. I've always been a competitive person ever since I was younger. And that's something that also my dad pushed on me. He always told me you never do something under 100%. Always give it your all. So obviously, it's something that I'm very passionate about, and that I think that especially seeing the team we came in with. We came in with a young team, but I think this team has a really big potential, and I think we definitely have a very motivated team.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Kenny said, I don't think any of us came here to lose. All of us came here because we want to compete and we want to win. So that's the whole goal of the team, to win games and to win a championship.
You have anything to chime in?
Not really. I just think when I see at practice, everybody really has that will to get better every day. When we go, when I look into the gym, we have practice. Everybody's giving 100%. When it's not their turn to swing on the machine, they're taking hacks on the tee or whatever they can do to get better. So really a motivated team that we have here.
So I have a question for Ryan and Kenny. So you guys are freshmen, and this is your first year at Baruch, I'm assuming? Yeah, correct?
Yeah.
So what differences have you seen from high school ball to college ball? Any comparisons, any differences between practices, games, game speed, stuff like that? So
yeah, I'll take this. Honestly, the main difference is the expectation that Coach Torres has on us. High school is the coaches weren't as tough on us as Coach Torres is, but I think it's something that makes Baruch a place where I want to be to play baseball. Coach Torres is he's hard on us, but it's for the better, and he really sees all the potential that we all have, and he just wants everybody to be better. The game speed is, for here, it's a lot faster paced usually than what I would see in high school. Not just the pitches thrown harder, but plays that have to be made. Double plays, people are faster. Everything, the game speed is just a lot faster in general.
Yeah, so like going off of that, like also the change is definitely like, high school teams, they'll have occasionally that like those 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe like if they're a really good team, then most of their starters are pretty solid, and their bench players are just there, because they maybe want to just do it just to do it after school but like college obviously is a whole nother level. You're competing for a championship. You're competing everyone there, like even competing for a spot too, for a starting spot. You're gonna compete with other kids that maybe went through the same thing as you. You come from, like personally for me, I came through a very like not the greatest team in high school, but it's definitely like so. Obviously, I had the people that were there. Like we put them in the position because they just they were there and that's what we had. Here, everyone here is talented in their own level. Whether it's someone better with their glove or someone better with their bat, you're still not going to see someone that's just lackadaisy. You're not going to see anything like that. And if they do, they're not going to play. Anyone who's playing at that moment is going to be someone that wants to be there, or that is committed to be there, especially in college. And that's the difference. You're summer ball, you're paying for it. College, you deserve to, you want to be here, we're not getting paid for this, we're not paying for this, but we're paying for schooling, but we want to, everyone wants to get better, make it to the next level.
I understand the fire, I understand the drive, especially the three of you being sports competitors in general and the urge to win. So following into my next question is, how is your season going so far? What are some positives? What are some things that you need to improve on? And how can you guys come collectively as a team to do so in order to move on into your season?
Off to a rough start this season. It hasn't been the best start, but, that's to be expected. We don't get that much time out in the field being in the city, so first couple games are always a bit rough. But some positives are our pitching is definitely improved compared to last year. It's much better. The main issue in the beginning of the season has been that our bats haven't really picked up. It's taken some time, but in these last couple games, we started to string some things together. Our bats have been starting to wake up, pitching a little bit better. But we still just gotta work hard every day because we're not having the results that we want right now. But we're gonna keep working hard and we're gonna keep showing up every day and putting the work to get better and win some games.
Yeah, so I definitely think the same thing. Obviously, he's been on the team another year. He knows what all these guys have. Us coming in as freshmen, it's a little different. Like, definitely off to a little bit of a rough start, but it's like everyone's there. Our bats are definitely picking up now, especially like in these games in the season. Like if you see these games, like our record really doesn't show who we are as a team, because I personally think this team has what it takes to get us where we need to be. We just have to clean up things on defense, and wake up on offense. And that's what, honestly, we've seen it every game. You've seen like a little ladder, something improve. Especially and I think that has to do honestly with Florida too. So we go down to Florida. I think it's every year, and we saw a lot of really fierce competitors down there, like really good teams. As freshmen, it's a little weird to see because it's in Florida it's really challenging. You're facing a bunch of challenging teams. Then it's come down here, we see a lot of the same thing too.
I was going to ask about the Florida trip, as freshmen, and you can even chime in too on that. How was your experience down in Florida? What did you guys see differently from what you would normally see from New York?
Yeah, so normally when we go down to Florida, he puts us up against a bunch of tough teams. I know one of the teams we played was in the D3 NCAA bid. They were one of the top 25 teams a year or two ago, and another one was another top 50 team in the country. But he puts us against some tough teams to kind of prepare us for what we're going to see here. Because it's not to say the competition here isn't that good. It's just that when you're facing the top, the cream of the crop competition, when you come back here, you're going to be able to play much better, and you're going to be more confident in yourself and more confident in your abilities, because you've already seen what the top looks like, But the experience is definitely great. We get to go out and play in some warm weather. Being in the Northeast, it gets super cold here and it rains all the time. So just going down there and having a week of 70 degrees the whole week, it was just great.
I was kind of curious about how that all works. You guys go down to Florida, obviously school's going on. How does that?
Yeah. So basically, it was we pay for a fee for the flight and stuff, and the school actually provides us with food down there. What is it, a car or something like that? They give us something to and we all stay in a hotel, and we all have roommates. Like this year there was 3 of us. I remember you said last year there was like 4 in a room.
Yeah, last year we had 4 in a room. This year we had 3 in a room, so it was definitely much better. But yeah, they really take care of us, the school and like the athletics department. You know, they pay for all our meals, they pay for our groceries and all that. And they also upgrade our hotel. We stayed in a nicer hotel this year, which was nice. But it really is like a fun experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Just the one thing about Florida that's a little tough on us is keeping on the schoolwork, because while we're still down there, professors are still giving assignments. You know, we're missing important days. Some people are missing midterms that they have to take either later on, or their final is counting as a bigger percentage of your final average. So if the midterm was 25% and the final was 40, then the final is counting as like 65% of your grade. So that's like one thing that is a little tougher when we go down there, but as Roy said, the experience that we get is like, it's worth every bit of it. You know, we get to bond with our teammates, we get to spend time outside of baseball with them, go out to dinner, have personal chats, we play cards, and just dominoes.
Played a lot of dominoes.
Yeah,
Played a lot of dominoes.
Swimming in a hotel pool. You know, there's nothing I would trade for that experience down in Florida.
Do you guys also like interact with like the other teams that you play against, or like that you see down there as well? Like,
I mean, occasionally, there'd be like another team at the same hotel, but we wouldn't really interact with them much. Besides like a casual like hello, but yeah.
Yeah, most of the time it's like strictly business.
Yeah,
we don't
everyone's
really
out
talk
there
to
for
them.
business. Yeah.
Like if we're not playing them, maybe. But I remember we saw a guy. It was actually funny. We were sitting in the lobby. We're getting ready for practice, and like we're all about to leave, or like we were going to get food. And no, I think it was practice because we were all in like our Baruch gear. And a guy from a school that we were supposed to verse, like his like parents, someone's parents walked in, and they all like looked at us, and we were all like kind of like just staring at them, you know. So I don't know if that like we don't really talk to them. I feel like we didn't have a team in our hotel this year.
The St. Augustine was in our hotel, but we didn't play them.
No.
I'm down in Florida against the top 25 team, the top 50 team in NCAA.
Yeah.
So, what's like one thing you could take away from playing one of the high level teams and translate it over to CUNYAC today, and like how do you implement that into your season?
Yeah, so the top level teams that we played, one thing we really noticed from them is they're very deep. Like they have a lot of pitchers, and they have a very deep roster. Like they can plug people in and out and still be great. The big difference down there in the upper level teams is the pitching. The guys are throwing harder, and they locate much better than some of the pitchers that we see out here. Obviously, there's great pitchers here too. It's just when you're at that level, you need pitchers that could really shut a team down, and that's what the pitchers down there did.
Yeah, like one big difference was that, like, you know, we're a roster of maybe like 20, 22 guys, you know. We went down there, and the teams we're versing have like 50 plus guys, you know. That St. John's team, they were the ones that were ranked like top 25. They were just like, they had pitching for days. Like literally they had like 10 guys in the bullpen, and then there was still people in the regular, like they filled up the whole dugout, and it was crazy. Like, so compared to that, like to us, we're a very tiny team compared to all of them, you know. They have depth, you know.
Yeah, also when you kind of try to translate it, when we play teams like that, they don't make mistakes, really. They limit their mistakes, and when they do, their mistakes don't cause as much damage. I mean, as I see from down here, some of the teams that we play and us, we have to try to limit that damage as much as possible. With like errors, you know, those teams down there, the top 25, they don't make mistakes really, or if they do, it's very limited. With the pitching, they really rarely walk guys, have better off-speed pitches, fastballs, which really prepares us for when we see the competition up here. It's a lot of gauge different up down there than up here, because they're just overall better teams, but it's very good for preparing us for the CUNYAC conference and conference games that we have up here.
Yeah, and the thing is, when we go down there, it's not like we're playing schools from Florida. Like all those teams, they're traveling down there from like Ohio, played some from Minnesota, yeah, like they're coming from everywhere, so it's not just Florida. So we're really seeing like all these kids from like across the country down in Florida.
Oh wow, I actually never knew that like multiple teams from like all around the country fly down.
Yeah,
I know, like College of Rhode Island was one. Another, a lot of
Skidmore.
Teams, yeah, Skidmore. Have like teams from all over the Northeast and like the Midwest come down there, play each other.
It's kind of cool, honestly. Like you get to see and feel like game style of what goes on out west, what goes on like more up north,
Yeah.
and like Minnesota, like all these different teams and all these different experiences at like all different levels of college ball.
Mhm.
All right, this is where we're gonna cut it into the last matchup against FDU. So I think we will start with Roy on this one. So Roy, what are your takes and how do you think the game went?
Yeah, honestly, we came out to the field, and the first 2 innings we were dead as a team. First at-bats were really bad. We didn't get anyone on, and our first 2 innings in the field, we didn't make the routine plays. As our coach says, outs got to be outs, and when you play a good team like FDU, you can't make a mistake. We had 1 inning where 1 error led to them scoring 4 runs. You take out that inning, the inning scores, 3-2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we lose, like,
If you take out that inning,
it'd be a 4-2
It's a
game.
different game. It's a different game. So that's the issue. We can't make mistakes. But after that, our bats picked up a little bit, and we were dominant. We were dominant with them. We were hand in hand. It's just we had that one bad inning. That's why going forward, we're trying to execute more on those little plays and just play the baseball we know we're capable of. Because we know those first 2 innings, that's not the team that we are. But we got to come to the game ready to play. That's on us.
Yeah, I mean, that team we versed was also pretty good in the past, and we've known that. We knew that going in, and not to say we don't get it, but like their advantage a little bit, they have their own field. They have a field they play on every day, same distances, are able to see it on an open field. So for us coming from playing in a gym, the bounces are different, especially on turf, and I think that not to make excuses, but I do think that leads a little bit to some fielding errors that could happen. We don't see that a lot. Like I say, our coach definitely always tries to get us outside, but it so happens that other teams are also trying to get outside. Like for example, Flowers Park, all that place is booked up like crazy. Bronx Community College, all those places, there's other people playing there. He's tried multiple times to get us outside, but we all try to work with what we can. We work with what we have. We got a big gym, so that's good. We do a simulated IO in there, And then the auction, we have a beautiful cage, actually, that we ended up hitting in. So there's a lot of things that we could do that we substitute that we can't do it in on an actual field. But that team definitely was pretty good, but I think this should have been a closer game than what it looks,
Yeah, they're definitely beatable.
Yeah, piggybacking on what Kenny said and Roy said, the first 2 innings of the game were basically, it was a very slow start, pitching wasn't where it should have been. Jude came in I think he pitched 5 2/3 innings, didn't allow 1 earned run, and, he pitched really well as long as Nicholas LaPointe, he came in through the 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th, shut him down, and I think overall, if we just eliminate those first 2 innings, where it's a completely different game of what showed in the box score.
So as you guys go into your doubleheader against John Jay, how are you guys going to prepare, mentally? How are you guys going to prepare competitively? Especially, it's a doubleheader. I'm assuming that you guys get tired after, the first game.
Yeah, so definitely, since John Jay is one of the conference teams in the CUNY, we're definitely going there, and we want to go there, and we really want to, kick their ass, We want to really beat them real bad.
Never
That's the goal.
underestimate them either.
Yeah.
We're going in basically, especially I think for us, this is our first, me and Ryan's first, actual CUNY game where it's our conference, that it actually, not that it doesn't matter, but it matters a little more, It's something that we want to show that we're the best team in the conference. That's our goal. We want to show that we're a dominant team, that we deserve to be the top of the conference. So we're definitely going in not underestimating them at all. We're going in, like Roy said, we want to kick their ass.
One of the big things that we want to work on going into that game is just having our mindset ready with the hitters and the fielders. A big thing for us is sometimes our hitters we don't always swing at the first pitch strikes or the strikes early in the count. We kind of put ourselves in a hole. So leading up to that, we're kind of just working on getting our mind ready to swing on the good pitches early, don't get in a hole, and just execute on the field. Make the outs. Outs got to be outs, like our coach says. Outs got to be outs.
Yeah, and for the pitching, we want to kind of try to just throw strikes against them. We don't want to get ourselves into holes, 3-0 counts, walking guys. So we really want to just apply the pressure on the other team, make them hit the ball, make them do damage. Even though, while we're trying to limit it, but as long as we're not giving them free passes, it's a lot better of a game when you don't let runners on base and you pitch to your ability.
Yeah, like back to hitting too. We definitely want to put the ball in play. We can't keep going down strikeouts, because personally I've been going down way too many strikeouts, and I know that I need to put the ball in play. If you put the ball in play, you have to force him to make a play. If that makes sense. You have to force him to make a good throw. You have to force him to do all that, and that's when errors will come in for them. Put pressure on them. Anyone under pressure, sometimes they won't do the greatest under pressure. You got to put pressure on them. But if we're sitting there, if we're striking out, that there's no pressure under the defense, and also that gives them momentum. I think we should ride momentum into it. I think hopefully that we get out there in the first inning, we're out there fighting, we're out there like doing our thing, and then after that we go into and bring that momentum.
Yeah, a lot of momentum.
Yeah,
A lot of momentum. Yeah.
Obviously, we are all rooting for you guys on the 30th against your doubleheader. So what are your predictions for the CUNY Act?
We're gonna
Like
take
standings? Yeah, we're 100%. We
it.
100%. We're all
last
committed
year,
to that.
we kind of underestimated some of the teams. We were predicted to take it all again, and we messed up on the first round of the playoffs. This year it's different though. We're coming in, not underestimating everyone, and just really want to kick everyone's ass, But yeah, that's our goal. We're planning to take it, the whole thing,
So Roy, as you being one of the guys with the better experiences with the team, what can you tell the young bucks
Yeah, definitely. So it's a long season, I remember last year going through the season, there can be times where it feels like you're in a slump, and it's you can't really think how am I going to get out of this? But taking everything one day at a time, and controlling everything you can control, and staying positive. A big thing about it, whenever you're in these slumps, is always staying all it takes is one swing and you're out of it. It's just working hard every day and just staying positive even when things aren't going your way. Because there's plenty of times where some of us underperform or we're not playing the way we want to, and it's very easy to get down and ride that wave throughout the whole season, but that's not what we want. We want to win, so we got to stay positive and we got to stay confident in ourselves. So that's a big thing. Another big thing as the season goes on is our physical health. Every day we're practicing, and then we got games on the weekends, games during the week. It could be a lot of wear and tear on your body. So at practice, taking care of your body, stretching out, going to the trainer, doing all those, icing your arm, doing all the physical therapy, that's all big parts of the season, especially because it's a long season. So if my advice to the young guys is probably just to stay positive, not to get too down on yourself, and just take care of your body. See the trainer.
That's great advice to tell the young bucks, considering I'm looking at your roster right now. You guys have a pretty young team, and you guys have a lot of freshmen. That was great about what you said and that you can advise the guys on. And that is a wrap. Thank you guys for coming on to the podcast today. We had a great episode. Hopefully we can have you guys back on here again in the future. Best of luck to your season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime, fellas.